Hi everyone, this is Sushmita speaking to you all. In this video, we are going to see about a theory, literary theory or literary criticism, which you might feel very dry or boring text. But once you get a touch with these theories and criticism, when you practically apply it, that has a different focus on your mind, and it gives you an interesting feeling to apply it to your text that we are going to see is Four Kinds of Meaning, which is written by I.A. Richards. And if you are going to suggest some more videos that you want for the future, definitely I'll be posting it once you get a touch to comment or message me in the Instagram. And I have given the link in the description box. Do check out and do follow there. If you feel that you just want these mind maps, you can just go ahead with the Pinterest there, where I have given the ID in the description box. Without any delay, let's move on into this particular theory criticism called Four Kinds of Meaning. And this kind of text starts with a quote. You can see it is beautiful quote which is by Leviathan, and you can just have this in your one words as well. So I just want you to note down this particular quote, and even when you're going to write your 5 marks, just make sure that you mention at least 2 lines in your 5 marks, so that it adds a taste to your answers. And it starts with saying that those who trust books forget that little sum constitute one big group, which means when you're reading a text, you should know every aspect of a meaning where the author has written the text and come to a conclusion. And to take a text, you what you have to do is literally know the meaning of each word where the author has written, and then come to a conclusion, without which we are just moving on, just skipping the words, and we are coming to the conclusion. That is not fair enough that you give to a text. They do not consider whether little sum are properly constructed or not. Even the little thing it might be, right? You have to check whether it is properly done by the author, and you have to have some patience to know what the author is trying to convey to us. And they find the error clearly, and what we do is we find all the error clearly, right? So that is what the Leviathan also says, the same thing. And they believe the little sum and do not find a clear way to understand of a book. Okay, and what we do is we have a little understanding of the text, and we come to a conclusion with that understanding, right? And that is what the author is pointing out. Rather, we should not do that, and what we have to do is we have to underline each of words and come to a conclusion of the exact meaning what the author has trying to convey, and then come out to the conclusion. Otherwise, what will happen is, as a bird entering into the chimney, we also should not give nose and come out of the text. Rather, what we have to do is to know every word, every kind of meaning over the text, and then come to a conclusion when it comes to a text part. And below, I.A. Richards has suggested some of the guiding principles, to have some of the guiding principles when you are reading a text. When you are reading a text, if you don't set these guiding principles, then it will be a irregular form of understanding a text, and it will lead to you to a complicated situation. You don't even know what the author or what the writer has tried to convey. So it is complicated. It leads you to the complicated situation where you don't understand the text properly. And when you are setting some of the guiding principle to read a text, then it is less confusing. So that is the aspect over here. To a standard principle, that is the as many men so many opinions. So when you take a book, you see the feedback or do not. Of course, you can just go through the opinions of the people, but it is not so that you have to fully take into the opinions. Rather, you have to conclude the conclusion only when you read the book or the text by yourself, and then come to a conclusion. That is what the author is trying to say, because 100 peoples will be reading, and 100 types of different opinions will be there for a particular text to understand, right? Know the exact meaning of the text, then come to a conclusion. That is what the author is trying to convey over here. And if you see, the author's intention will not be merged with the hundreds of opinions. There will be so many opinions, whereas the author's intention will not come out correctly. That is what the author is trying to say. The difficulty of all our reading is the problem of making out the meaning. So what is the difficulty? That is, we are not giving time to find the meaning of a text exactly. So that is the main problem over here. Author has also suggested some of the master keys for problems of criticism. What are they? First, you have to justify what is the meaning of the text that you are taking for, and what are we doing when we endeavor to make it out, are we trying to find out the meaning of a text or not, and what is it we are making out after taking the literal meaning of a text, and what we understand from the text. That is how you have to understand the text. Rather, do not take the opinion directly and come to a conclusion. And these are the master keys. Definitely for 2-mark questions you will be having this, and where you have to write the 3 questions where the author has suggested the master keys to be. And some people call these master keys as a open sesame. So this is also for a 1-mark purpose. And what we do for a regular purpose is, knowingly or unknowingly, we all play with words. Like for example, there are certain words where that has 4 or 5 meanings, right? So what we do is, we do not attempt to understand the meaning. Rather, what we do is directly go into the meaning that is not like suitable for the text. Rather, we take that meaning and we all play with that, right? So that is what the author is trying to say. We all, knowingly or unknowingly, we all play with words when we converse, when we have a day-to-day conversation. And he is also giving an example, like we are, when we read a text or when we read a passage, what we do is, we all are like a billiards bat, right? Crisscrossing, like go inside the text, not too much, just come out. Like that, the author is pinpointing us we should not do. Rather, what we have to do is go to in-depth understanding of a text, then come to a conclusion. And we are active participants when it comes to speaking and writing, and we turn to a passive participants when it comes to listening and reading. So this is also for a 2-mark purposes. This particular text, the 4 kinds of meaning, or the question can be of types of functions in poetry. So there are 4 types of meanings where you have to understand when it comes to a text or a poetry. So they are, first thing is the sense, that is the literal meaning, what the author has literally said. For example, the common statements that people will try to understand the text. For example, the sun rises in the east. This is a common statement where everyone will be having the same understanding of a text, right? So you have to just note down all such things. That is the sense, that is the literal meaning of a text. Then he has said that to focus on the feeling, that is the emotion part. What emotion did the author or did the writer focus on, and what type of emotion it has been conveyed, whether it is a sad, whether it is happy, whether it is moderate, or what kind of feeling that the writer has exhibited. That is the second thing that we have to note. And the third thing that we have to see is the tone, in which way that the author is been trying to express his own views, that is in a soft tone or in the hard tone or in the moderate tone. Which tone that the author has conveyed his own writing or conveyed his own meaning or emotion in the text. And then the intention, that is the purpose of the text. What is that one thing that the author wanted to say? That is the intention. The purpose behind the words is called intention. And here intention can control the plot. If you have a story, and the intention is the only thing that controls the plot as well. And it has a special importance in a dramatic and a semi-dramatic literature as well. Where it has an importance, where intention has a special importance, it has importance in dramatic and semi-dramatic literature. So this is also for your 1 words. And what are the 4 things that the author tells us to focus on? Is the first, sense, the literal meaning, the feeling, the emotional meaning, the tone, the speaker's attitude, and the intention, the purpose behind the words. So these are the 4 things which we have to focus on when it comes to a text. And then the author is suggesting us to consider if a writer is engaging in popularizing some of the results in the science. What would the author do, or what would the writer do? First, he would sacrifice all his adequate statements, that is to make precise statements and to make something which is very normal, like that, right? First, he sacrifices those kind of writings. And then what he is to do, secondly, to awaken and encourage the reader's interest, to awaken and encourage the reader's interest. That is, in what way should I tell to make the readers attempt to look at it, right? So that is the second thing that the writer should focusing on. And the third thing is, in what tone should I convey this content to the audience? So that is the third thing that the writer focuses on. And to talk about the political tendency, first the purpose should be clearly said to the or convey to the people. So when it comes to a political scenario, what is the first thing which comes into the mind? The intention, the purpose should be clearly mentioned to the audience. And then if you take the poetry, what people do is the author would have a scenario in writing. That is, the author's intention to writing a poetry is to bring all the rhyming stanzas and all the flowery languages, right? So that is the way the author exhibits. But what people do is people take every statement as a seriously. They connect to to themselves. They connect to their heart. They connect to their emotion when it comes to poetry. For example, if you see, my soul is a ship in full sail, that is something which is relating to the psychological impact comes into mind when the people reads that, right? So when it comes to an author, he would have written the statement to give a rhyming feeling for the audience to read. So that is how the author's intention will be, rather to see on the people's intention. Beauty is truth, use beauty, again a psychological fact that the people will be taking this quote as a positive content. So this also comes into the mind when the people are reading the text, how the people are feeling when they read the poetry. That is how it is being depicted over here. And when it comes to poetry, the author would have used the facts to misrepresent them. They would have used illogical statements, and they would have used unreasonable metaphors. So when he uses these kinds of statements, he succeeds in those kind of poetries, what happens is no one will stand against him. So that is what the author is trying to say, that in poetry you can see a lot of things which have been like vice versa, sweet and sour, like that vice versa, like you don't even have any kind of connection. But in poetry you can see them connecting everywhere, right? So those type of persons, those type of like poetry, if the author succeeds in his writing, what happens is no one will stand against the poetry the author is trying to convey over here. And to know about the critics, that has said poetry is a spirit. So who has said these words? You have to note all these for your one words. So Dr. Batley has said poetry is a spirit. That is what the critic said. And Dr. Mackail has said poetry is a continuous substance or energy whose progress is immortal. Poetry is something which is immortal, which you can't erase, right? So that is the what Dr. Mackail has said. And poetry carries more feelings, tone and intention than senses. And this is also you can note for your one word. And next mind map, you can see that some of the questions I have given main questions, and if you want more questions you can just visit the blog page as well. If you know the answer, just do comment, or if you're not willing to comment, please do message on the Instagram. Or if you want to check your answers, you can just visit the Pinterest ID that I've given, where I've posted the answers for you. And I just wanted you all to be engaging with me and comment for the future videos, and let me know about your views and the future possible videos. Thank you. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe to our Secular Come Let's Learn with S. Sushmita.